Hey guys, welcome to Y&R Daily Update YouTube channel. Today's topics: the rinse Y&R, December 17th. Nikki warns Victor his Jabot war could cost him everything. Nikki finally confronts Victor, making it clear his war against Jabot now threatens far more than business on The Young and the Restless. In the December 17 episode of The Young and the Restless, Nikki warns Victor that his vendetta against Jabot has crossed a line and may cost him everything that truly matters. What begins as another escalation in Victor's long-running feud with Jack becomes something far more personal, when Nikki makes it clear she will not stand by if his obsession continues to cause collateral damage. Key takeaways: Nikki confronts Victor over the real consequences of his war on Jabot. Victor's fixation on Jack threatens innocent people and long stability. Nikki signals that her marriage is no longer protected from Victor's choices. What happened with Nikki? Nikki Melody Thomas Scott finally said the quiet part out loud. Victor's Eric Bredin relentless push to damage Jabot isn't just business maneuvering anymore, it's personal, unchecked, and destructive. They ripple outward, affecting families, employees, and people who never asked to be part of his war. Victor, unsurprisingly, defended himself. To him, this is strategy, control, protection, the same rationale he has used for decades whenever his actions veer into dangerous territory. But Nikki wasn't interested in excuses. She saw what Victor refused to acknowledge. This vendetta is being driven by resentment, not necessity. Her warning landed because it wasn't emotional or impulsive. It was measured, clear, and grounded in reality. Victor's war may satisfy his need for dominance, but it is destabilizing everything around him, including their marriage. Why it matters for Victor? This moment marks a shift in Nikki's role within Victor's world. She has supported him through ruthless decisions before, often absorbing the emotional fallout in silence. This time, she didn't soften the message or shield him from consequences. Victor's feud with Jack Peter Bergman has always been deeply personal, rooted in decades of unresolved resentment. Nikki understands that history better than anyone, but by reigniting this conflict, Victor is threatening the fragile balance they've worked to rebuild, particularly after everything Nikki has endured. Her warning reframes Victor's behavior. What once passed as calculated power now looks like obsession, and Nikki is no longer willing to be collateral damage in a war she didn't choose. The fallout for Victor now faces a rare dilemma. He can continue down a path driven by vengeance, or he can recognize that this war is costing him credibility, stability, and potentially the woman who has stood by him longer than anyone else. Nikki didn't issue a dramatic ultimatum. She didn't need to. By drawing a boundary, she changed the stakes entirely. For perhaps the first time, Victor's actions carry consequences he can't bulldoze or outmaneuver. In Genoa City, power is easy to wield. Knowing when to stop has never been Victor's strength, and this time, the price may be higher than he expects. Subscribe our channel for more latest update. On The Young and the Restless, December 17th delivers one of the rinse segments that doesn't rely on spectacle, but instead cuts straight to the emotional and moral core of Genoa City's most powerful marriage. As Nikki Newman issues a rare and pointed warning to Victor Newman, the episode reframes the escalating Jabot war not as a corporate chess match, but as a potential existential threat to Victor's entire world. This is not Nikki nagging. This is Nikki seeing clearly. Victor has always treated war with Jabot as muscle memory. The Abbotts are his eternal rivals, and conflict with them feels less like a choice and more like a reflex. But December 17th exposes something different. Victor isn't simply protecting Newman Enterprises or proving dominance. He's overreaching, and Nikki is the only one brave enough to say it to his face. What makes this moment land is Nikki's tone. She isn't emotional or hysterical. She's calm, measured, and devastatingly precise. Her warning isn't framed as fear, it's framed as consequence. Nikki doesn't tell Victor that he might lose something. She tells him he will, if he keeps pushing forward, blinded by pride. And for Victor Newman, that may be the most dangerous mirror anyone can hold up. Victor's obsession with Jabot has crossed an invisible line. It's no longer about leverage or long-term strategy. It's about control for control's sake. December 17th makes it clear that Victor is so focused on winning the war that he's stopped counting the cost. Nikki, who has lived through the aftermath of countless Victor victories, understands something he refuses to acknowledge. Sometimes Victor wins battles that hollow him out in the process. The brilliance of this episode lies in how it positions Nikki not as Victor's conscience, but as his historian. She remembers the wreckage. She remembers the family fractures, the emotional casualties, and the moments when Victor stood alone after declaring victory. Nikki has been there when the dust settled on. She knows how lonely that silence can be. Her warning carries extra weight because Nikki has supported Victor through nearly everything. She has defended him when others walked away. She has justified his ruthlessness as necessary, his secrecy as protection. For Nikki to finally draw a line suggests that this Jabba war feels different, more reckless, more personal, and more destructive than the ones before it. Victor, of course, doesn't respond with introspection. He responds with certainty. That certainty is his armor and his Achilles heel. Victor believes he can absorb any loss as long as he controls the narrative, but December 17th quietly dismantles that illusion. Nikki points out that this isn't just about money or corporate dominance. It's about relationships, trust, legacy, the very things Victor claims to value most. If the Jabba war escalates, Victor risks alienating not only enemies but allies. Nikki understands that power without loyalty is fragile and Victor is dangerously close to mistaking fear for devotion. Her warning implies that when the fallout comes, it won't arrive as a hostile takeover. It will arrive as emotional abandonment. This is where the rinse earns its name. The episode strips Victor down to his patterns and exposes how repetitive and predictable they've become. Nikki's role is not to stop him, but to remind him that he's been here before. And every time, the cost has been higher than he anticipated. What's especially compelling is that Nikki doesn't threaten Victor with divorce, ultimatums, or emotional withdrawal. Instead, she frames the cost as inevitability. If he continues this path, he will lose something he cannot replace. That ambiguity makes the warning more chilling. Is it Nikki herself? His children? His reputation? His sense of purpose? The answer is likely all of the above. Victor's refusal to heed Nikki's warning reinforces a growing theme on Y&R. Victor's power is no longer unchecked because it's unstoppable but because those around him are tired of fighting it. Nikki is one of the last people still willing to challenge him from a place of love rather than opposition. If he dismisses her, he may find himself without a meaningful counterbalance for the first time. From a character standpoint, this moment elevates Nikki. She isn't reacting to Victor's actions, she's anticipating their aftermath. That foresight sets her apart from others caught in Victor's orbit. Nikki doesn't need proof. She has pattern recognition, and that makes her warning feel less like speculation and more like prophecy. The Jabba War, as framed on December 17th, becomes symbolic. It represents Victor's refusal to evolve. While Genoa City changes new power structures, shifting alliances, generational transitions, Victor remains locked in the same rivalry that defined him decades ago. Nikki's warning is, in many ways, a plea for growth, not surrender. Growth. Victor's tragedy is that he interprets restraint as weakness. Nikki understands it as wisdom. As the episode closes, the tension isn't resolved. Victor doesn't back down. Nikki doesn't retreat. The warning hangs in the air. Unanswered in that unresolved space is where the drama thrives. Viewers are left not with shock, but with dread, because when Nikki Newman says something will cost Victor everything, history suggests she's rarely wrong. December 17th doesn't give us explosions or instant consequences. It gives us something more dangerous: inevitability. Victor may win this round against Jabba. He may even control the narrative temporarily, but Nikki's warning reframes the victory as winning may no longer mean surviving intact. On The Young and the Restless. The most powerful moments aren't always the loudest. Sometimes they arrive quietly, in the form of a woman who knows her husband too well and loves him enough to tell him the truth. Whether Victor listens is another matter entirely.